polling stations open as Kimanis picks new Member of Parliament. Plus, remaining with current owners is the best decision. Good afternoon, thanks for joining us and you're watching Updates at Noon. I'm Azlani. A total of 29,619 voters are expected to cast their ballots today for the Kimanis parliamentary by-election, which began at 7:30 a.m. As of 11 a.m., 42% voters had cast their votes throughout 19 polling stations. The Kimanis parliamentary by-election is a straight fight between Parti Warisan Sabah Warisan candidate Datuk Karim Bujang and Barisan Nasional BN candidate Muhammad Alamin. Datuk Karim earlier had cast his vote at Sekolah Kebangsaan Kimanis at 9 a.m. while Muhammad Alamin cast his vote at Sekolah Kebangsaan Our Lady, Kampung Kelatuan at 9:15 a.m. The polling process will last until 5 p.m. today. The Election Commission (EC) had appointed 653 electoral officers to conduct the polling process, while the official vote tallying centre is at Beaufort's Datuk Seri Panglima Haji Muhammad Don Bani Hall. Turnout is expected to be about 70% and the poll result is expected to be out by 10 p.m. The Kimanis parliamentary by-election was held after the Federal Court on 2nd December upheld the Election Court's ruling nullifying former Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Anifah Aman's victory in the 14th general election in May 2018. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has defended the Cabinet's decision to retain Khazanah Nasional Berhad and the Employees Provident Fund EPF as Plus Malaysia's Berhad concessionaire, saying it was the best decision. He also said the decision was made by the Cabinet after studying all the proposals made by different bidders.
We studied all the proposals made by different bidders, and the conclusion at the end was that this is the only way we can settle the problem, because Khazanah and KWSP already owns. The others will have to buy.
The Premier was commenting on the criticism by certain quarters against Khazanah for not selling Plus. The Cabinet on Wednesday decided that the highway concessionaire should remain with its owners and that the concession period extended by 20 more years from 2038 to 2058. The toll rates, however, will be reduced by 18% effective 1st of February. The Premier added that the 20-year extension period will allow the highway operator to settle its debt. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir said no rules or conditions are imposed on state governments over the usage of financial allocation provided for them. Instead, it was up to the state governments to decide on how to make optimal use of the allocation.
Kita bagi duit, kita tak bagi syarat. Apa yang dia buat lah. Kalau nak kena syarat, kalau dia buat benda yang tak betul, rakyat akan hukum.
Tun Dr. Mahathir said this when asked about the report on the purchase of 14 Mercedes-Benz to be used as the Kelantan state government's official car. Prior to this, the state government was reported to have received a one-off allocation of 400 million ringgit given by the federal government. Parti Pribumi Bersatu has yet to decide further action against Dengkil Assemblyman Adif Shan Abdullah, who was involved in an alleged drug-related case. Its chairman, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, said the matter will be decided later as the case is currently under police investigation.
No, we have to wait for the justice to take place. We cannot sentence them or find them guilty without the courts making a decision.
On Thursday, Bersatu Armada Chief Syed Saddiq Abdul Rahman announced the suspension of Adif Shan as Selangor Bersatu Armada Chief and Ahmad Rizwan Muhammad Shafi as Bersatu Armada Assistant Secretary with immediate effect. This followed after the report on the arrest of 17 individuals, including Adif Shan, in a police raid on a condominium unit in Jalan Puchong on 12th of January, in which 16 of them were tested positive for drugs. A happy day for 6 Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Polytechnic students at Pantai Teluk Bidara in Dungun, Terengganu ended in tragedy when 4 of them were feared drowned. The incident occurred at about 6:30 p.m. yesterday. Operation Commander Assistant Superintendent of Fire Zakaria Muhammad said the 4 victims, all aged 21, were believed to have been swept away by strong waves. The victims were identified as Muhammad Lokman Hakim Al-Rashid, Muhammad Sabaruddin, Muhammad Zulfahmi Zuki, Muhammad Ikhwan Ahmad Azhan and Muhammad Amir Izzuddin Zulkifli. Assistant Superintendent of Fire Zakaria also said the Fire and Rescue Department received a distress call at about 6:33 p.m. before dispatching a team of 14 firefighters from Dungun, Berang and Chukai Fire Station. The search and rescue operation involved a water tender, Emergency Medical Rescue Services EMRS vehicle and 2 boats. Also involved in the operation were the police, Civil Defence Force, RELA personnel and the local community. The Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry will be enforcing surveillance in order to contain the widespread of influenza A in the country. Its Deputy Minister Muhammad Bakhtiar Wancik explained that this initiative must be done as the virus could affect the country's tourism sector.
We are monitoring closely. I think any outbreak that happens, especially the influenza A outbreak, for the moment, we are monitoring that number closely. We don't know whether there's going to be any negative impact to our tourism, but we monitor closely on this arrival. So far for this year, we have not, still about 16, 17 days, so we will not have the numbers, but we monitor closely.
The Deputy Minister added that the ministry will also be monitoring the negative impacts of the influenza as it targets 30 million tourist arrival in conjunction of Visit Malaysia Year 2020. More than 120 cases of influenza A have been reported in Pulau Pinang, Selangor, Pahang and Negeri Sembilan since the beginning this year. On 8 December, Malaysia saw its first polio case in nearly 3 decades. And in 2017, the Health Ministry disclosed there were some 25,000 tuberculosis cases with more than 1,900 deaths. It was reported that an outbreak at any place must be seen as a threat to all countries, especially those that serve as popular travel destinations. Coming up next, e-Tunai program to gear Malaysians toward being a cashless society. The Health Ministry will be deciding whether it will shut down government health clinics that do not follow the specification of a health clinic. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Lee Boon Chye said there are several health clinics, including one in Sarawak, that needs to be closed down due to the location and condition of the clinic that could no longer provide optimal services. Elaborating further on the matter, Dr. Lee said a health clinic is typically located in an area with a population of at least 10 to 50,000 citizens.
Mungkin perlu melihat semula bagaimana kita uruskan klinik-klinik di kawasan terpencil ini. Yang dulu terpencil tidak lagi terpencil. Jadi kita mesti lihat dari segi optimization operasi keseluruhan. Kita adakan klinik kesihatan sekurang-kurangnya ada lebih kurang 10,000 hingga 50,000. Jadi dari segi operasi klinik kesihatan ini memang tidak begitu ekonomikal.
Speaking during a visit to BJ Timah Health Clinic in Ipoh, Perak, the Deputy Minister said the clinic was instructed to be closed down as it could no longer provide optimal services. Meanwhile, in another development, Dr. Lee also said the new wing of Raja Permaisuri Bainun Hospital in Ipoh was opened last month and will be fully operational in March. The e-Tunai program that was launched on Tuesday is part of the government's initiative to expedite the process of economic digitalization that will transition Malaysians towards being a cashless society. Based on the Statistic Department, 18.5% of the National Gross Domestic Product (GDP) was contributed by digital economy. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng urged all retailers to register with e-wallet operators to support the cashless society movement. He said the involvement from every quarters will help the government in its effort to reduce the gap between small retailers and major corporations in rural and urban areas. On another matter, Lim said the personal data of e-wallet users are protected and used only for the purpose of e-Tunai Rakyat initiative. As of yesterday, a total of 800,000 applications have been approved, with a total of 24 million ringgit spent. Previously, 415 million ringgit was allocated for the initiative that was aimed for 15 million e-wallet users nationwide. That concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, polling stations open as Kimanis picks a new Member of Parliament. Join us again at 7 p.m. for more updates on the latest happenings around the world. Thank you. I'm Azlani Adani. Stay tuned on TV2.